Hey guys, and welcome to this video. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm going to be talking about the new Tom Ford Spring 2022 eyeshadow palette in Belle de Peche. This is a new eyeshadow formula from Tom Ford and I'm going to be trying this today on my face for the first time. And I'm going to show you close-ups and swatches in natural light as I always do, so that you can really decide for yourself if this palette is going to be the right one for you or not. I'm very excited to try this new eyeshadow formula from Tom Ford. So let's go ahead and get started. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you love luxury beauty. I would love to have you as part of this lovely beauty community that we have here. And if you're returning, welcome back, dear friends. If you happen to try this eyeshadow palette, be sure to leave us a comment and be sure to let us know, do you like this new formula from Tom Ford or not? This is a new formula and I know that we have a community of so many makeup experts here. Some of you have amazing makeup collections, way bigger than mine, and you have so much experience. So be sure to leave me a comment once you try this eyeshadow palette and let me know, do you like the new formula by Tom Ford or not? Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and start with the demo. First of all, I'd like to show you close-ups in natural light. So all of the videos that I'm inserting right now are filmed in natural light because I want to be able to show you the product as it looks in real life so that you can make an informed decision for yourself if you want to have this palette or not, and if you need this palette or not. This year Tom Ford are going to be releasing new eyeshadow palettes and there is a completely new formula. This formula is different from the well-known wet and dry formula by Tom Ford, and it is different also from the regular formula of Tom Ford. So this is a completely new formulation, and I wanted to have the Belle de Peche eyeshadow palette so badly. This has been on my wish list for quite a while. It has been available in Asia for a few weeks and now it's slowly starting to roll out in Europe and in the US. Soon it's going to be available worldwide and I'm very happy to have this palette in my hands. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I love the Tom Ford eyeshadows and I love the wet and dry formula in particular. I don't like the other formula of Tom Ford because it is a little bit more dry, but I absolutely adore the wet and dry formula by Tom Ford. Now this formula is completely different. I took some time to swatch the palette, to play with the palette before filming this video, and I have to say that when I touch the colors, it's a very interesting formula. It's not like the wet and dry formula. They don't feel as soft and as creamy. And now as I'm showing you the swatches on my arm, you're going to see that the colors don't appear as pigmented and as intense as the eyeshadows from the wet and dry formula of Tom Ford. When I touch the eyeshadows, they feel quite firm. They feel like firm pressed powder, and it's very interesting. The powder is so firmly pressed that I have to push my finger a little bit to get the color, so I don't get the color immediately after touching the color. I'm going to see how this is going to work today when I start applying the eyeshadows with a brush, but I suppose that I will have to use a more firm brush to get the colors because the powders are really very firmly pressed. All of the colors are not matte, but they are luminous matte, so they have this very beautiful luminosity. So I wanted to compare this eyeshadow formulation to one of my existing eyeshadows, to one of the eyeshadow palettes that I have in my collection, and I cannot find an exact match, so it's very hard to describe. Overall, I really like that the colors are luminous matte, but when you see probably, when I start touching them, it's just that I don't get the color right away. I don't get the color immediately. I have to press a little bit to get the color. And I don't know, guys, I am going to explore and I'm going to keep using this eyeshadow palette. I'm going to come back with another video. I'm going to show you a different look, of course, use the palette once again, but can you see, like, I don't get that much color. This eyeshadow formulation actually reminds me the most to some of the Charlotte Tilbury quads that I have, and these are the Hollywood quads. So if you have any of those quads, you're going to know this formulation here. It's a very firmly pressed powder, but then the Charlotte Tilbury ones are much softer than the Tom Ford one. Now let's go ahead and try this on my eyes and we are going to see how it looks. I'm also going to try experiment and use this palette on my face, because with the Dior Trio Oblique eyeshadow palette, I used it also as a blush, and why not? I'm going to try and use this Belle de Peche eyeshadow palette as a blush as well, because the colors just look so pretty to me and look so suitable for a blush color. For example, this shade here, this peachy shade, we could possibly use as a blush. We're going to see, but I'm just going to play today with this palette. And also I just wanted to show you that it comes in this limited edition box and this limited edition pouch in this gorgeous orange color, which gives me Hermes vibes. I don't know why. Okay, so now that I have you closer, I can go ahead and start. I'm going to be using my Chanel double-ended brush because this one has more firm bristles. And I definitely think that I'm going to need a brush with firm bristles with this eyeshadow palette. I'm going to start with this peachy shade here and apply it all over my eyelid. Okay, so I just want to show you how much color I pick. So I pick a lot of color. So I was a little bit concerned that I'm not going to be picking color, but actually it picks quite a lot of color. I was a little bit afraid that it might be hard to apply, but it's not actually. I can get the color immediately on my eyelid. And now usually when I use an eyeshadow palette for the first time, I usually create two different looks on each eye, but today I'm going to create the same look on my eyes, both eyes, because I have to go out and I have a lot of work to do. I'm going to try and get the Dior Spring 2022 eyeshadow quints because I'm very curious about those, so that's why I need to go out now. And that's why I'm going to create only one look. And then I'm going to be back, of course, in one of my next videos to update you how these eyeshadows work on my eyes. Now there is some really unflattering light today because there is a lot of sunshine and I can't do anything. I have the blinds, but still. Now I'm going to be using this color here in my crease. Almost like a transition color. I just want to explore the palette today, but I see that these shades are suitable for the spring season. Now I'm not going to lie, if you ask me, I think I prefer the wet and dry formula from Tom Ford. Still, this new formula, it's not a bad one, but definitely can't beat the wet and dry formula by Tom Ford, but it's hard to beat this one. It's my favorite eyeshadow formulation, just so beautiful, creamy, buttery. It's hard to beat the Wet and Dry formula by Tom Ford, but it's good to see that they're working on new formulations. I definitely like this formula better than the regular formula of Tom Ford, the pressed powder formula of Tom Ford, because I'm not a huge fan of the pressed powder formula by Tom Ford. Somehow the eyeshadows look very dry. I think I have two eyeshadow palettes that are from the pressed powder formula by Tom Ford and I don't use them. I never reach for them. Just they don't make me happy. Okay, and now I'm going to be using same brush and I'm going to dip into this brown color and I want to apply this one in my crease and just the outer part of the eye actually, to see how much I can deepen this color. The palette is not very intense, so keep that in mind. I'm not sure how these colors are going to look on someone with deeper skin tone, probably medium skin tone to tan skin tone. I'm not sure how this is going to look. Now this is what I have so far and let's go ahead and continue this look. I'm going to be using the pale shade in the inner corners of my eyes. I apologize for the lighting today. It's very sunny and I have a big window on this side. So there is a lot of light, natural light that's coming. Usually I try to film before in the morning, but this time I had to film in the afternoon because I want to show you the palette as soon as possible. I suppose that this palette is going to sell out quite quickly and I just wanted to show you the palette as soon as possible because this is a new formula from Tom Ford and in case you want it, I just wanted to be to make sure that I'm showing you the palette as soon as I can. And besides, I had a really beautiful lighting when I filmed the swatches and the close-ups of the palette. Next, I'm going to take the dark brown color and I'm going to line my lower lash line, just the outer part. So this is what we have so far. Overall, I like the look. It's very, I would say, suitable for the spring season. I'm quite happy that I decided to skip the Peachy Trio Oblique palette from Dior because I wanted to get this one by Tom Ford. It's a new formula and I'm quite happy that I tried it. Now I feel the urge to apply a little bit of kohl eyeliner just on the upper lash line, and then I'm going to be applying mascara and I'm going to be back with my final thoughts on this new formula by Tom Ford. Now this is the finished look on the eyes, and now let's go ahead and try this beautiful palette on my face as well. We are going to be using this as a blush. I'm going to use this shade here, and let me go ahead and just take my blush brush. So I'm going to be using my favorite Dior blush brush because it's small enough to fit in here. And I'm actually going to swirl the brush a little bit in between these two colors. Let's go ahead and see. I think it's going to look lovely on the cheeks as well. Now this is something that I learned from you guys. I would never have thought to use eyeshadows instead of a blush, but then a lot of you suggested this in previous videos of mine, that I should try and use some of my eyeshadows as blush on the face or as highlighters, and it works like a dream actually. There we go, we have sunshine again hitting my face. But at least you're getting a more unflattering picture of me, which is quite realistic. And I have to say that I love it. So the color actually is not completely matte. It does have a little bit of luminosity. I'm looking at myself in the mirror right now, so that's why I'm looking down. I'm just looking at the mirror and it looks so beautiful. Well, I would definitely use this palette as a blush as well. It almost looks like I will not need a highlighter. Okay, I think that's enough. You get the idea, and I don't want to overdo it because I'm going out, but wow, this is one of my favorite blushes. Okay guys, so this is going to be the final look, and I have to say that I love this eyeshadow palette used as a blush, and I actually used, as I mentioned, these two colors as blush, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. Somehow it matches my skin tone so well. It makes me look very fresh and it gives me a very youthful appearance, to the point where I actually don't want to apply highlighter right now, because as the sun is hitting my skin, it just looks so naturally beautiful. It looks almost like I'm flushing from within, and I definitely like this look. I don't regret purchasing this eyeshadow palette. I absolutely love it. Now, do I like it more than the old and iconic Wet n Dry formula by Tom Ford? No. The Wet n Dry formula by Tom Ford still remains my favorite. It's hard to beat this one. It's probably my favorite eyeshadow formulation of all times, and that's why I have so many eyeshadow palettes of Tom Ford. That's why I splurge a lot on Tom Ford makeup, and more specifically on eyeshadow palettes, because the eyeshadows are just unparalleled in terms of quality, the Wet n Dry formula. Now this new formula by Tom Ford, I'm very happy to see that they are working on new formulations, and I have to say that I quite like it. I'm definitely willing to try some of the new colors that are going to come out. I know for a few eyeshadow palettes that are supposed to be released later this year, and I'm going to try and get my hands on those, so be sure to subscribe, turn the notification bell on, because that's how you're going to receive a notification every time when I post a new video. I'm definitely going to try and get more of the new formula of the Tom Ford eyeshadows. It's very interesting. It's something that I don't have in my makeup collection. Whether you need this eyeshadow or not in your makeup collection, it's all up to you. Keep in mind that there are going to be also new releases from Tom Ford, other different shades with the same new formula. So in case this is not exactly your perfect color story, then just wait for a while. There are going to be new releases as well, no rush here, but overall I quite like this eyeshadow palette. Now once again, between this one and the Wet and Dry formula, I would still say that the Wet and Dry formula is much better and I prefer it, but still it's nice to have something different in my makeup collection. I know that I'm going to be using this eyeshadow palette a lot, and as I said, like, I love how it looks on my face. I absolutely love how it looks on my cheeks. It just gives such innocent yet youthful appearance, and because the colors are luminous matte, they don't emphasize pores or fine lines, and they don't look like powder, which is amazing. So even if you have dry skin, it's going to work beautifully. And I would say that this palette is a beautiful multitasker. On top of that, I really like this orange packaging. As I said, it does give me a little bit of Hermes vibes, the whole orange packaging. I think it's beautiful. And that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and don't forget to leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of this new release by Tom Ford. Are you excited about it? Are you planning to purchase this one, or are you planning to wait and see also the rest of the eyeshadow palettes that are going to be released? And also, please leave your review of this eyeshadow palette, just a short review in case you try it, because this is a new formula. And have a look at the comment section below, because there are a lot of people commenting usually, and we get so many amazing comments and we get so much information in the comment section. This is information from you, and we are an amazing community. We are all very passionate about beauty, but we all come from different backgrounds, we all come from different ages, skin types, so it's always very useful if we have a little bit more opinions on different makeup products, because this is going to be helpful for everyone. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope to see you in my next video. Take care, bye!